We are back. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Automotive Podcast, the podcast where we don't build model cars, but it sure does help. We are here, episode 1 of season 3. We were just discussing backstage. Season 3. Holy crap, 3 years of this. And tonight, kicking off our 3rd year down there in the Hollywood Square box, Mr. Gary Westfall, who is going to dazzle us tonight with his electronic wiring, which I know sounds sarcastic, but really, seriously, this guy is lighting up, is getting lit, so to speak, lighting up a lot of model kits. And we have a lot of sort of behind the scene pictures to share tonight while we talk about exactly what he's doing, because it's gone from sort of a basic lighting, I would think you would say, Gary, to 150 plus LEDs in a model kit now.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. I'm down the rabbit hole, you could say.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna look at some of his a couple of older models. We're gonna consider them that, because Gary built just a wild and crazy Ford truck that you may remember if you were in an Elise last year. He built a very impressive Impala for Mr. Hanscom, Blue Ox Model Shop's Pro Street Group build, which is fun to look at as well. So we're gonna look at those and some other stuff, and just a good old chit chat like we have every time here. So, Mr. Chester, Mr. Svensson, I would say we haven't seen each other in 2 months, but we obviously have a group chat in the background and talk pretty much every day. So what's been going on, Mr. Svensson? What have you been up to for the last?
Oh, happy 2026, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, what have I been up to? Working on models. I had a nice Christmas break. I actually got pretty good progress. I posted some pictures recently. The project I got on the bench. So I'm building a Dodge Charger trophy truck.
Finally.
And this was an idea that I had a couple years ago, and Mr. Tester was kind enough to enable me print out a coach builder trophy truck 3D printed from their kit. So doing a mashup on that. Let's see. I just ordered a bunch of parts from Texas 3D Customs too. I've been working on a 61 Dodge altered wheelbase gasser, and I wanted some kind of crazy engine to put it. I've got a vision that I want it to be kind of like a 60s custom meets Ed Roth, Rat Finkish kind of crazy thing. And they happen to sell a Hemi with a twin supercharger. So they're kind of juxtaposed in a V. It's really ridiculous looking and huge. And I was like, oh, it's perfect for those builds. So just received those in the mail. So yeah. So I'm excited.
You're inspired. Yeah.
What have you guys been working on?
I made my first plane. I posted a video. It was kind of fun. It was different way of planning building a model. Like if you're building a car, you paint the body first, and then you do the interior and the chassis, engine. Where with the plane, you have to do the whole interior and then seal it all up to do the body. So it was completely different thinking, like sequence wise. And I also finished the 12 cylindry. I did that in a clear green over silver. And I'm back to working on the Garfield car, the 296. So I just posted pictures online of the engine that I finished, and now I'm working on the interior.
Nice. Yeah, your Ferrari came out really cool. That green color.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't have thought to paint a Ferrari green, but
me either. It was actually a paint mistake. So I had painted it a silverish blue first and didn't like it, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just darken it a little bit with transparent green, and it just took on a whole new life. So
happy accident.
That's a mistake. Yeah. James, what have you built?
A grudge against people who buy too much stuff for Christmas? No. Absolutely nothing. I mean, there's nothing changed about that, right? It's becoming a running gag to this program at this point. What I did do in the last week, because for people who don't follow work for FedEx, and obviously, November, December is our busy season. It's part of the reason why we don't do this show in the wintertime is because I work that extra day of the week, and that extra day of the week is this day of the week because I don't work on Mondays. If you haven't figured out our recording schedule yet. And what I did when I finally had time is this behind me was filled with model kits. It was one of those things of being, I know it's shocking, right? It's still filled with model kits, no less. But I had been putting things behind me off to the side on the assumption of like one of these days I'm going to record one of those "what did you get" videos, and it builds up and it builds up and it piles up and it builds up because it's like, oh, I got one more thing coming, I'll wait till that thing shows up, and then Christmas rush hits and I didn't get around to it, and I counted them, there was like 82 models sitting back here in a pile behind me, and I was like, first of all, I am not doing an 82 model "what did I get" video because that would be 2 hours long and people would kill me. But I also shelved the things that I could and put the rest of the stuff out into boxes on the other side of the wall. You can't see it, but there's a wall of models to my left. James has been here. He's seen it. He's been overwhelmed by this hot mess of a stash that I have. And that gave me access back to my paint booth and the drawers that my paint are in and all that sort of thing. So it's like just cleaning up. It was a good spring cleaning. It had gotten to the point where I couldn't roll this chair backwards without hitting stuff. I couldn't get in my drawer. I couldn't get in the drawers to paint, even though I was going to. I told James the other day, I have an app on my phone that was created by a guy, I think in Czech Republic or something like that. It's called Hobby Tracker. It's designed basically to keep track of your time, right? It's basically a stopwatch that attaches to projects that you put into it. And one of the side features it has is a paint inventory, which ScaleMates is great for keeping track of your kits, but they really don't have a way to keep track of your paint in a very coherent manner. And I was looking at a couple of things I have laying around here, and I'm like, I don't know if I have that paint color or not, because Tamiya paint, I know you could give me an XF code and I'll tell you what color it is. I know that stuff so well from using it since I was a kid. Moving over into like Mr. Color, I don't know those paint codes as well. Like you start getting up in the FS number stuff. It's like I got paint in today. It's C319. It's Japanese air self-defense semi-gloss green. I need it for the interior seat colors on this project that I'm working on. I don't have that, and I wouldn't know if I had it, because what else would I use it for? I'm not building Japanese airplanes for the most part. And so going through and putting everything into this app took like a half an hour, and I realized that 3 of the colors that I was about to order for this project, I don't have to, because I actually have them. I bought them for something else. They've been sitting in the drawer buried behind 90 model kits for the last 6 months. And I have 3 pots of khaki for some reason. 1 big 23 milliliter bottle of khaki and 2 10 milliliter. I've never painted a thing tan in my entire life. I have no idea why I have so much khaki paint. It's probably one of those things where I bought a Ferrari and I thought tan interior, better grab a bottle of khaki for that. And then that's how you wind up with, I know I have, multiple bottles of semi-gloss black, and because that's stuff you use, you go through it. I don't want to not have aluminum when I need it. So I have a couple of pots of that, but I don't know why I have 2 bottles of dark green. I don't know. I've never used it. I'm ready. I am. That's right. It's like SpongeBob. I'm ready. So that's what I'm doing. I have a project in mind for the 1963 theme for NNL East. I'm not going to go into it, because as soon as I say I'm going to do this thing, then of course I'm going to not do that thing, and then everybody's going to be like, why didn't you do that thing? And I'm not going to go down that road. So hopefully that will be something I get done. It's like a 65, 70 part kit. Shouldn't be that big of an issue. I now have all the paint for it because the green came in today. And it's nice and sort of to be able to breathe in here. It was closing in around. And that's one of the things I was talking to Justin Hart over the weekend about our various stashes. And I said, the focus, here's a shock, right? The focus of my stash has wandered over the last 5 years. It was very, believe it or not, for people who don't know, it was pretty focused at one point. It had a very large Nissan Skyline collection, because I love GTRs. It had a Evo, pointing where things are, you can't see them, but there's a Mitsubishi Evo stash. There's Lamborghinis. Beside it over here is Ferrari. So the supercar stuff, that was always something I've always been into, obviously, because now we're buying all the, the crazy, all the crazy PZY, Ferraris and stuff like that. So that stuff plays right into that. but like somewhere along the lines, I've got just stuff.
Race
like,
car.
Race car, yeah, always into race car. It was NASCAR at one point. It turned into like GT3. But like, there's so much stuff that's like, I realized that it was like, oh, that's cool. And like, yeah, it was, but that was also 10 years ago. And I don't remember, why did I buy that? I don't know. Probably sell that.
It happens.
And my wife would be like, well, that's like hoarding behavior. I'm like, no, because hoarders are like, they can't get rid of stuff. I can. I sold like 5 things over the weekend, but it's like every now and then I look at something and go like, do I really want to get rid of this? Because I remember why I bought this. And this was going to be a really cool idea along with a series of other really cool ideas. And I'd like to, before, I get to the point where I have to sell it, because that comes to all of us at some point. We're all going to achieve an age where we can't do this anymore and we don't leave this giant burden to our families. It's like, I need to get rid of some of this stuff. And I've showed James a bunch of stuff that Alpha Models is going to be doing for 2026. And the joke I'd always made was like, oh, I need to sell some stuff to afford the Alpha Models. Now it's like, I need to sell some stuff to put the Alpha Models someplace, because they're doing a whole slew more stuff that I want to buy. And I was like, well, okay, so there's, I don't know, 25, 30 Alpha Model kits coming out next year that I'd like to get my hands on. That's $10, $30 model kits a month, right? That's not that bad. It could be like 2 a month. And then you realize that that's 360 model kits I'd have to sell. And at that point, I'd only have 1,000 model kits left. Oh, what am I going to do? I have no idea how I'm going to survive. So, yeah, my Christmas, my time in the truck around Christmas has been a realization that some of the stuff has to go. And, it's just a matter of paring it down and finding the right places to sell it. Because, I get rid of some of the junk on Facebook, and it's like, if I get $10 for it, I get $10 for it. But some of this Japanese stuff it's not rare, but I'm not selling it for $10 either. So it has to go on eBay, or it has to go on I have to take it to shows and try to sell it there or something like that. So
good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
You guys buy all the Alpha Models?
He did.
I'd say I buy a good chunk of them. Yeah.
I have all the PZYs.
Sean, you've met John, because I introduced him to you at NNLE's, John Brolin, and I have him tagged up on a couple of the F1 kits that Alpha Model's going to do this year, and he's like, I really need to build these because I'm 0 for 2 on my Alpha Models. I'm like, well, that beats being 0 for 56. So I mean, there's always that.
Gary, do you have any Alpha or PZY models?
Any what models?
Any Alpha or PZY models?
No, I've never done Alpha. I've considered it, but I've never done it. I guess I'm a little bit wary of jumping into the resin, because I love the way that the liquid cement works with Tamiya, and the way I build most everything before paint. So not everything, but a lot of assemblies are done before paint. And so it would really change the way I would have to do things, I think, quite a bit. So I haven't tried those, but I will.
I don't know.
Because I understand they're great kits.
They look nice. I see these guys building them and buying them.
Well, I've seen some of James. I've seen some of yours at NNL, and they're amazing.
They really are.
Absolutely
really
beautiful.
That's why I love building them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I went was
good.
As soon as they do some mid-60s Mopars, I'm all in.
Now, most of the Alphas are curbside, right?
They all are.
For the most part. You might have the equivalent, say, of like a top engine insert in some of the Ferraris and Lamborghinis that have the windows in the back, so you'll see the top half of the engine. The race car that James was just talking about, it's not a full detail engine. It looks like one pretty much in the end result, but it's not actually.
Yeah.
It's more of a just look at it, not open it all up kind of model.
Yeah. And they're beautiful. They build really, I mean, the ones you've built are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I do
beautiful.
They're sort of a curbside that pulls at my heartstrings. I do like. I don't know. Maybe someday. I have to break down and buy one.
The right one. That's
I'm
you
just
have to
waiting.
wait for the right one.
As soon as they do a overlanding truck or something.
Right. Yeah, I mean it looks like a full engine. Yeah.
So
Yeah, the parts that you would see through the glass or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So especially when you consider, getting that into the body itself, you're going to lose, the outside edge of all that, obviously, in the
Exactly.
underneath the body work. And what's there looks good enough. I mean, there's probably going to be some people that would, of course, tumble down it doesn't have a whole engine, I'm not building it rabbit hole, but yeah, okay. I mean, subject matter is subject matter at some point. It's good,
Yeah.
What do you want to build? What do you want to build? And I made the definitive mistake of somebody in one of the Facebook groups I'm in posted something to the effect of, when I see people complain about a bad model kit, I accept that as a personal challenge. What do you have to say about that? And I posted, life's too short to build crappy kits, because let's face it, it is. I have 1,390 options to pick from here. I'm not picking the crappiest one I can find. And of course that, it's a kerfuffle. How dare I, you're just an assembler, not a modeler, blah, blah, blah. There's so many things I would like to do to a model. And again, we'll talk about Gary's lighting here as the night goes on. So many things I like to do to a model. Fighting with it, it's just not one of them. It's just not. It's just getting the model kit to fit together. That Ford truck, obviously, that was a lot of work to get that to fit together. But just a basic kit to get it to fit together. If we could just check that off the list without having to worry about it, that would be fantastic. And I don't take that as a personal challenge. I'm all thumbs up for people who want to fight with their models. If that's what drives you at the end of the day, is that challenge of yourself, then so be it. I'm not going to tell you not to, but it's just not what trips my trigger. And I'm not sure I take a pride in building things on purpose to annoy myself. That's I know what a 1960s AMT kit is. I'm not saying you shouldn't build one. I'm just saying I am not going to build one.
Fair enough. I think I've sort of fall into the other category, or like the instructions are sort of suggestions of what might be an outcome, and usually I throw those away and just invent something new. So
yeah,
that's got to be tough for you, Sean, to build the box art car, because
it is. Those are the only ones I've ever built. That's box stock.
Right.
I've never built a box stock model, and I actually the few times when I built those, I'm like, I sort of cringe, because it's not really my style of building. And but I appreciate it.
So you went back and fixed that Ford afterwards. After it got built and shot up, it came back and got Svensson again, so that it was the way you wanted it. So Gary, what have you been working on recently?
My most current is I'm building the Revell C8 Corvette convertible.
Ooh.
And I decided to do the lighting thing with that one too. So car is almost done. I just clear coated it yesterday, so here's where we're at.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Oh, there's the factory.
James,
stripes?
can you make him big?
So let me see if I can embiggen him here.
Would you ask about the stripes?
Yeah, those.
Those stripes. These I printed my own stripes on this. I actually laid them out because I'm building this as a 2025.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. So the 2025 C8 Corvette, they came out with the habanero interior. So it's an orange color interior. It's really cool looking. And so that was a new color for the interior. And so 2025 it had to be. And actually, once I got the kit, I realized that the wheels on it, it's a 2022 model. And the wheels on it are 2022, I think, and maybe 2023, but they discontinued them in 2020 by 2025. Okay. So I had previously built the hardtop.
Okay.
And I took the wheels off of the convertible and put them on this model. And then I took the wheels off of this one, of course, because they're still available on the 2025.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
able to actually build the car on the configurator, on GM's configurator, and I'm actually building it as a 3LT with a habanero interior, and the option packages and everything that are on it are all legit, what you could get for the car. So
Nice. Did you create the artwork for the decals? Or
yes.
okay.
Yeah, that's actually, I'll show you this little, this is actually a piece of evergreen sheet. Kind of hard to see because it's black. I'll show you the white side of it.
Okay.
Evergreen sheet. So that is something I laid out and cut it out of 5,000 stick sheet and was able to sand the edge and get it perfect and everything, and then scan it.
Okay.
And then I had a photo that I could work with and then mirror that and everything and get my way. So use Photoshop to get to the decal.
Okay.
And just printed it on that on an inkjet. So
Okay.
yeah, on white decal paper. So it's not the best decal out there, that's for sure, but it works.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
kind of limited with white body with the white decal,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the roof on it, I'm building it with a convertible top down. So this is the roof panel, part of the roof panel.
Okay.
So that roof panel, I actually painted it white and then taped off the stripes and then painted it black and then put the decals on.
Okay.
So you'd have a white underlayer or the colors.
Yes, I had the white underlayer, right. Because I'm doing the black, that comes with a black top if you order it that way. So I'm doing the black top, and the top is going to be tucked into the engine bay where it goes. And the one thing with the convertible Corvette, the actual car, you can't see the motor on it unless you get an option for a little viewing window. So normally there's a cover. Well, there's a cover anyway. There's a cover that goes over the engine. It keeps the engine bay separate from the top.
Okay.
And so I'm building it with the top down, and I'm going to glue that to that engine cover. And then you actually just be able to take the top and the cover right off to see the engine underneath,
Okay.
or put it back on and then close it back up.
Okay.
Neat. Did you have that blue one at Den and L last year?
Yes, the blue one was there.
Okay. I kind of remember. I know you've built a couple different Corvettes that I think you had on display.
Yeah, I had I built a red, I think I had the red Grand Sport, the one with the black stripes, a red Grand Sport.
Right.
And so that, of course, was somewhat scratch built, in that I used a Corvette ZR1 model and a standard Corvette model and combined the two and made the fender changes and so forth on that to get to the Grand Sport. And that was actually a replica of my own car. So it was kind of nice to have something to take dimensions off of and all that.
Nice. You're a Corvette guy.
Yeah, I actually don't have one now, but at that time I did. So
Neat.
So are you, sorry, let's back up. Are you a lacquer clear or a 2K clear?
2K.
2K.
Now, 2K is fairly new for me, though. I've only been doing it for about a year.
Okay.
So, yeah, 2K is something that after going to NNL in 2024, which was the first model show I'd ever gone to.
Oh, wow.
I was starting off with a good one.
Yeah, I started off with a good one. But when I went to the show, I looked around and I said, boy, I got to change the way I do things. Because, it was, my models were good, but they just didn't have that finish.
Right.
So I started researching, and I watched a lot of videos, some of yours, in fact, James. So,
Thank you.
I got to see, what people are doing, and I didn't even know what 2K meant. So once I figured that out, then it's like, well, I've actually used 2K before. I always called it automotive clear coat.
Right.
So, I can spray that. So I went to 2K, which I really
I'm
love.
going
that
back
stuff.
to lacquer.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now, why are you doing that?
Just because you can fix it. If you mess it up, you can fix it. you can blend in a panel, whereas with 2K, it's kind of, you mess it up, it's messed up. Strip it and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I find with 2K that I just actually got a new airbrush that I just used it for the first time on the Corvette model. New airbrush and new compressor. My older airbrush was a Iwata Neo, which is a basic airbrush.
Yeah.
And I had their small little tabletop rectangular compressor.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it when I got it, that it only puts out 12 to 18 PSI.
Right.
And so it just doesn't want to spray anything.
Right.
Unless it's like water.
Paint.
Yeah. So I was always struggling with that, but with the 2K that I'm using, which is it's an actual automotive, it's House of Color.
Oh,
and
okay.
you buy by the quart. And so I've got the same quart I've had since I started. I'm still working on that. And I got plenty left.
Right.
But that stuff is really, really durable. And you can sand, and I mean, you can almost file it if you have to. So it's pretty forgiving when you know, and I was getting a lot of crap in the paint with the airbrush, because I'd have to put on 8 coats, maybe 9 coats in some cases.
Wow.
To get a shine. Yeah. And it was take me all day to clear coat. And I said, this is ridiculous.
Right. My friend John up in Canada, he swears by one heavy coat of 2K, and they look like diamonds, I swear. But yeah, that's his way.
Yeah, I like to spray heavy and let it flow out.
I do too. I mean, I actually like to lay the paint down, but when I have, even with 2K with decals on, I've done a lot of stuff with carbon fiber, and the carbon fiber decals don't generally stick all that well. And so if you go a little too hot even on 2K, you can bubble it.
Yeah.
And so I try to mist out the first couple coats and give it time to set a little bit, and then go for it after that. And I've had pretty good luck with it
too. The dehydrator helps.
Yeah, that I don't have, but I probably should do something like that.
Yeah. You can bake the 2K for a couple hours and it's cured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may be something for the near future.
I need to look into the dehydrator too. You guys have talked about that before on the show, and put that on my wish list of.
I think Lewis talked me into it.
Yeah.
So
maybe it was John. I don't know.
So what are you shooting with now?
My airbrush now?
Yeah.
So glutton for punishment, I went for another Iwata. But this time around I got I forget what the name of it is. It's about $130 brush. And it was actually at one of the local Hobby Lobbies for half price. And it's like, well, that's the same price I paid for the Neo, so I'll just try it. And then I got a new compressor, which is it actually has a pressure gauge on it, and it goes up to about 50 PSI if I want it. So I sprayed with that. I could not believe how much better it was.
Yeah.
I didn't spray at 50 PSI, but I had the pressure I needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this job, I mean, I've got a couple little tiny maybe specks of dust that I just got little nicks I got to take off. But other than that, this one's by far the best 2K one I've done so far.
Awesome.
So, and this is 2K, but it's over just Tamiya rattle can. So,
okay.
So that's, Tamiya rattle can primer, Tamiya rattle can matte white is what the color is.
Okay. And
then 2K over that. And I've sprayed 2K over the Tamiya rattle can several times now, and it's no issue at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And yeah. So it's easy to do because, obviously with the rattle cans, you can lay a good coat on the rattle can, and it's a lot quicker.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Casey asks what temperature you are using the dehydrator with 3D prints. The lowest setting, it's about 80 degrees is what I run it at. Anything more and you could melt it.
I want to give Gary a proper introduction. So Gary and I met a few years ago. I don't remember which NNL it was.
It was 24 because it was the first time I went.
Okay, and that was that one, yeah. So that was back in they had a Bronco theme. The new AMT Bronco 21 Bronco had come out. I built one, Gary built one, and I saw his on the table, and I didn't know Gary and wasn't familiar with his name. I started looking at his Bronco. I was like, man, this thing is really clean, and it had working lights on it, like these little LED. And if you know that Bronco, it's got a really unique headlight that has like a halo around the perimeter and then kind of a dash through the center. And you had those lit up. And I was like, how did he do that? And I started, I think we sort of synced up, and I was asking you questions about it, and I was just really impressed. And then you started showing me some of your other models you'd built and realized like, oh, he's puts lighting into everything. And I didn't really know anybody that had experimented with lighting, especially to that level of realism. And I was just really impressed with, not only the type of builds that you were doing, but also the variety. Like you sort of covered the gamut from, I think you'd built kind of a steampunked 49 Ford Custom that I think got Bust Show that year, didn't it?
It got, yes, that was the sub-theme class. It was a 49 Mercury. It was 75 years of the 49 Mercury.
Right.
And the crazy thing is I didn't even know that was a sub-theme until I got there. Because I filled out my paperwork. I waited in line, got through the line, and then I got my paperwork, and then I went and filled it out. And so it's like, oh, I'll enter this in the sub theme. And yeah, it ended up winning.
Yeah. Which Mr. Miyagi would say, "Ooh, you beginner luck."
Well, I was really impressed by your range of, you built like some really nice stock stuff, but you would build really wild customs, things that were really off the wall, and have a great eye for detail. I think a really good eye for design, and just want to kind of, learn more about you and learn like, where are you from? Let's start at the beginning. Like, we don't even know where do you live at, and how did you get into model building?
So I'm a Vermonter by birth. Grew up in Vermont, and spent most of my adult time in Vermont. And when I finally got to the point, I was able to retire early, so I was fortunate there. But in 2018, moved to New Hampshire with my wife, and we built a new house. And so that's where I'm from. So I've always lived, and I'm literally lived 20 miles from where I was born. So I live in the same place. So I've always lived in the Northeast. As far as modeling goes, my earliest recollection, I would say I was probably like 10 years old, probably. And we had a little local, it was a JJ Newberry's. I don't know if they had them across the country, but there was a lot of them in New England. And so the JJ Newberry's had a little model display, and you could buy, they probably had 30, 40 kits and tester's paint, and that was it, and the little tube glue. And so I used to build models. I did that as a kid and did it as a young adult. And then life took over, and I spent 30 years roughly not doing it at all. And then in the teens, I got back into it a little bit, built a couple of the larger Porsche die-cast kits, a couple Lamborghinis. And that kind of got me going back into it. And then I didn't want to build eighth scale models because they're just too big. They're fun to build and there's a lot of detail, but they're so big and you got to have space to store those things,
Right.
So I decided to go back to the smaller scale and take it a little more seriously. And I ended up in late 2022. I built a couple of Volkswagens, really radically modified Volkswagens, Beetles. So I bought 3 Revell kits and I ended up building them 3 completely different ways. They don't even look like they're from the same anything. And but I joined the Facebook group, Model Cars and Trucks. And when I joined that Facebook group, I entered model on, the first thing I posted there, one model of the week. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. So then I just started, building a little bit more. And then I started watching a few YouTube videos and everything and started to learn a little bit more. If I look back at 2022, I've come a long way since then. But yeah, that's kind of where I got back into it.
What did you do?
I've always had.
I was going to ask, what did you do for a career? It seemed like you have technical skills.
Yeah, so by trade, I started out straight out of high school, and I got into pattern making. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with pattern making, but actual pattern making is wood patterns for machine tool parts and castings and that sort of stuff. So you're kind of building, you're not building molds, but you're building patterns that make molds out of sand. And so that technical aspect of it, I did a 5-year apprenticeship program. You can really learn how to build things kind of inside out and backwards and all that. So molds and how to mold things and parting lines and how to split things comes second nature to me these days. Didn't when I started, but it does now. And then went on my own for several years doing the same thing, but it was kind of a dying trade, especially in the Northeast. Most everything had gone overseas in terms of the kind of work that I was involved, which was machine tool. And I ended up going back to the company that I started with, but it was under a third owner at that point. And they had brought in an aerospace element to it. And so I went back to work at that company. I saw the aerospace side of it and actually got into tool design and doing that on a CAD system. So I did that for a lot of years until when we bought the company, and then ended up building that company and growing it. And then I was able to retire early. So, and always built stuff. My wife and I have built all kinds of stuff, houses and furniture in the houses, and we just always doing something and making things.
That's
so
cool.
Now in retirement, I can kind of take all those energies and bring them down to 1/25th scale and go crazy.
I'm always curious about people's background or their professional life. And I've noticed there's sort of a trend when somebody is a really good model, but they often are also doing something professionally that helps develop their technical skills. Either it's maybe drafting or some sort of craft work of some sort. And then those skills kind of get applied to the model car hobby as well.
Oh yeah. And it's a seamless transition too, because the kind of mindset it takes to get there, just transitions great into building models. Mm-hmm. I do a fair amount of scratch building, and that stuff, that's where I probably have the most fun, is actually when I get into the scratch building side. It's a lot of fun to do that, or super customizing, because you can really go crazy and you can really go wild. It's fun to do that. And yeah, all those skills and all that insight, learned through the years and years and years of doing it, under pressure, when you're doing it as a job, especially when we were always a job shop. And when you're doing it as a job, you take a job on and you got to do it. You got to perform. And, so sometimes we would take on stuff that you're not quite sure how you're going to get there, but you do it.
Yeah.
You figure it out and you do it. Bang heads, do whatever it takes to get it done.
Yeah. I'm curious, what drove your automotive interests?
Always been interested in cars. When I was a young kid, I think I do remember, this is going way back. I don't know how old I was, but I'd say middle school age. I bought an MPC model at the local store, and MPC had a contest where you could draw cars, dream up a car and draw a car, and then enter it into a contest. And so I did a couple of those, and I ended up winning a couple model kits out of it. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool, and that's really what, at that time, I wanted to be an auto designer, car designer. And that's, but I didn't have any connections, and there's no industry around my area for that.
Sounds
Right.
familiar.
so yeah, so I ended up getting more into woodworking and that sort of stuff, and just went a different way. But
Did you
I've
have
always been interested in cars.
is that something that building models and or doing things with cars? Is that something you did with your father, your grandfather, or family member?
No, my father was not. The only other person that I ever did it with, my oldest brother, who was about 3 years older. He got into model kits a little bit because he had friends that did. And so I kind of did that a little bit. And then at the time we had a neighbor who was into it. He was a little bit older. And yeah, so that's really where it all started. But I've always been a solo builder, really. Like I said, I'd never been to any contests or no model shows or anything until 2024.
Wow.
So, and which totally blew my mind when I went. I'm like, this is a whole world out here I didn't even know existed.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine walking into N&L East and seeing, 1,000 model cars on display and never had seen anyone else's work like out like that.
And that's really what it was. And it did blow me away. I just was shaking my head in awe, Yeah, it was pretty cool. Really, really cool.
So it sounds like you're a real car guy too. You mentioned having a Corvette at one point, and
yeah,
talk a little bit about your real car.
What's that?
Tell us a little bit about your real car interests.
Well, I actually have a Lamborghini Huracan too. So
there you go.
Yeah, so that's and I built a model of that. That's the craziest build I've ever done. So but the Lamborghini Huracan, I've always liked sports cars. My first sports car was a Mazda RX-7 back in 1981.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the type when I was younger. It's like I won't get something until I can get what I want, and I'll wait until I have to, as long as it takes to get it.
Right.
And so my first sports car was the RX-7, which I had for probably 4 or 5 years. And then I got into a C4 Corvette and had that for a little while. And then that went away when I started my business. I broke off from working somewhere else and went on my own and went without sports cars for a long time. And so was fortunate enough in 2005 when the new C6 Corvette came out. Got a 2005 C6 Corvette and went to the museum and had it, the delivery at the museum, and I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. And since then, it's like, all right, now I'm in a position where I can always have one. So something. So
nice.
That's
and I
cool.
just sold my C6 Corvette, not the one that I got in 2005, but I had a 2010. I had it for until 2024. So it was 14, 15 years old. And that was the red Grand Sport with the black stripes.
And then you downgraded to a Lamborghini from there.
Yeah. Yeah. The Lambo was a dream from, being a kid and having the Lambo poster on the wall. You guys remember the Alpine stereo and the Lamborghini Countach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I had that poster and had it on the wall for years and years, and it's like someday. So
Nice. Got your dream car.
yeah, and that one I actually I bought a Porsche Huracan, and that was around 2017 with the intent of making it into it's a coupe. So with the intent of making that model into a convertible. I remember this is eighth inch. I mean, yeah, 1/8 scale, and it's die cast. So it was a pretty ambitious project to convert it from a coupe into a Spider. And
Right.
so I had the model before I actually had the real car. I got the real car in 2019. And then I realized, oh, the front fascia is different. It's like, oh, the rear fascia is different. Oh, the interior is a little shorter. Oh, and then all these different things, that I realized about the car. And I said, okay, I'm just going to go for it. And actually chopped up that $800 model to build the to build it. It came out really, really cool.
Fearless.
So,
did you have to supply any photos to James?
I have some stuff, but not the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, not that one.
I was gonna say, if you, Mr. Duff, if you could pull up some of his models, we could kind of chat through them. I always enjoy hearing the backstory of what was the inspiration behind your builds and some of the things you did.
I was just checking reference there. I was going to say, Gary got himself a 1/8 Porsche kit and then bought himself a Hurricane Evo. That's what happened there. You got the facelifted one. Okay. You need to go you need to track down the unobtainable Alpha models kit if you want to build one of your own car.
Yeah.
They did the Evo. All right. So Gary has sent me some stuff here. And the one we'll start off with this one, because I don't know if this is Gary's most recognizable thing, but if you were in NNL East, you've seen this one. And we'll start from the chassis picture that you sent me here, because it's a good starting point of this Ford truck, because it's basically a Mobius floor pan on some crazy scratch building here. So this is, and we'll get to the finish thing. I think most people can look at this and realize where this model ends up at. But
yes.
Gary, what in the world were you thinking? You suddenly took a Mobius kit, decided to shove what I think is a Ferrari engine into it, and it's got 2 axles in the back here, and the only thing that seems to have come out of the kit other than the cab is the floor pan for it.
Yeah, so I actually got a little bit of inspiration from a couple of YouTubers, father and a son team. DeBerti, I think, is their last name, and they built a Chevy, an older late '60s Chevy pickup truck with a tandem axle, and they did it for SEMA. And the truck was all flat black and everything. It was just super cool looking. I was like, I just love that truck. It was just so cool and so different. So when NNL last year announced that they were doing the Mobius trucks for, I think it was the internet class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they said they were doing that, it's like, okay. And I had gone to, I also joined Classic Plastics Model Club out of Drake at Mass. So, and I joined them. I've been in that club a little over a year, and I actually won a raffle of a Ferrari Enzo at one of the club meetings. So I had the Mobius truck and I had the Ferrari, and it's like, and I'm thinking about this tandem axle truck. And so I went and I got another Ferrari model. So I had 2 Enzo models. And then I just started bashing the 2 together to try to come up with something. So I pulled the transaxles out of the Ferraris and kind of merged them together, and took the transmissions and cut them from the motor and merged them together, and then ran a drive shaft and then put the Ferrari engine in front. And so that was the basis for what I was going to do. I wasn't really sure how I was going to go through the whole thing, but I was going to get a tandem axle. And I like the idea of having that Ferrari frame in the back, that looked really cool because it's just kind of a structure, Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I just went from there. There was a lot of chopping and a lot of cutting. Yeah, so that's the Ferrari engine. I had to scratch build the exhaust on it. So that's just evergreen rods that are heated up and bent. And of course, then all bonded together and glued up. So the Ferrari engine was an attractive looking engine too. And I wanted it to be really, really, really radical. Exhaust coming out of the hood, I think, is really cool. I like that look on vehicles. I think it's just it's a crazy look. And then also wanted to slam it. So I cut the inner fender wells out and kind of modified that. Had to rebuild build the front suspension. I used some of the Ferrari components out of the kit to do that, and made it steer as well, even though it doesn't turn very far because there's not much room.
Right, the wides.
Yeah. So, and the body, I kept the body of the truck basically 100% stock. And my goal with that too was to make the stock hood fit on it as though nothing's happened underneath it. So, and the only Ferrari logos that I have on it are on the Ferrari emblems on the sides of the truck, and then of course the Ferrari logo, Ferrari on the hood, because that's where all the Ferrari stuff really is, right? The important Ferrari stuff.
That's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it was super fun project. It was really a lot of fun to do that one.
And did you scratch build the wing on the back?
Yeah, so all the ground effects, or it's like ground effects. It's got a spoiler on the front, the wing on the back. Those are finished in carbon. You'll notice too, I think there's a picture of the back of it that I cut out the center section of the tailgate completely and then put a mesh in there.
Right, I remember that now. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and then I sprayed in the Enzo Ferrari signature. Just made up a stencil for that, sprayed it in there.
Wild.
That's insane. Look at that.
Radical.
If you look at the license plate too, when I got it done, I did it as though it was, so the license plate's actually taped to the back of the window, and it's abbreviated cease and desist, which is a big thing with Ferrari, because when you start using Ferrari logos where they don't belong, they're not very happy about that.
That's fun.
So
Fun. Is
Yeah,
the rear
super
suspension, is that all part of the Revell kits of the Ferrari,
Yes.
or is that
Yeah.
special too?
yeah, so it's got the Revell, the Ferrari wheels on it, and they're painted like they would be on an Enzo.
Mhm.
So the actual paint on the truck is a really cool paint too. That's actually a Gravity Colors. It's a Aston Martin color called Aquamarine Black, or Ultramarine Black. Sorry, Ultramarine Black. And so it looks black in most light, but it's got a blue metallic in it that in the sunlight it's beautiful. It's a really, really
Right.
nice color.
I can't remember seeing that now. Did that have working lighting on it too? On this
No,
one?
no lighting in this one.
Okay.
But that was a fun project, a really fun project. And that one happened to win at NNL too, which I totally blew my mind. It's like
You've got an eye for it. That's
well, thank you. I
Are
put a
you
lot
building
of time into the thought, but I can't take total credit for the design, because the father-son team that built that truck that was at SEMA, it's similar to that. It's not the same, but it's similar
Yeah.
idea.
Are you
Okay.
building anything for next year's themes?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
You want to
Oh, yeah.
63.
set, or is it going to be a surprise?
I have one all done. I'm not going to disclose what that one is, because just not going to do that.
Right.
I actually have the 63, which wasn't planned for that, but I can bring it. So we'll find out what the internet class is, in another few days, I think.
15th. So yeah, that's Thursday, I guess. And that's the other thing I appreciate about that Ford truck, is the fact that not only is it, this fantastic model, but it's also in an incredibly compressed time frame, because you only had 2.5 months to build that, because the internet theme isn't announced till the 15th of January, and the show's the end of April. So it's like,
it's
we're just
true.
gonna toss this together real quick.
The only thing I got on my side is I am retired. So, when I decide to go for it, it can be 7 days a week, as much as I want to work on it.
How many hours do you usually spend a week building models?
I'd say almost like a job.
Okay.
So, there's some weeks where it's lighter than that, because you have to do real things too, right?
Right.
But then other weeks I probably put in a little more than you would on a job. So
Wow.
it depends on what kind of jam I get myself into.
Well, I mean, the final result is definitely there. I'll give you that for sure.
Well, thank you.
We'll skip to a different thing for a second, because I don't remember where I saw these models posted, Gary, do you have a social media? Do you have like a Facebook or other than your
I
personal
don't.
Facebook? Okay, so I don't know where I'm not sure where I saw these posted up. I love the idea behind them, and it's these pair of let's say slightly excessive Domino's delivery vehicles. Because this is right up my alley personally as far as the subject matter goes. So I mean, we can talk about the lighting part as well, but the just the thought process behind the idea of like why these are Domino's delivery.
Yeah, so this is obviously going to the absurdity, right? The absurdity of it, which is, and there's a lot of YouTubers. If I've watched quite a bit of YouTube in the supercar community and that sort of thing, and so there's a few of the popular YouTubers that they do some crazy things once in a while, and I thought, I've seen them when they take supercars through drive-throughs and things like that, and so I thought, you know what? I'm going to see if I can maybe I want to do something with lighting. And I thought maybe I could do a Domino's rooftopper. And so that was the plan. I said, well, I'm going to put it on a couple supercars and try that and see how that looks. And so that was where that whole idea started. I actually went to my local Domino's and talked to the manager to see if I could take some dimensions off a rooftopper to duplicate it. So they're like, yeah, no problem. So
did you, I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation. What was his reaction when you're like, hey, I want to,
well, I think they were more confused than anything. It's like, you want to take dimensions off rooftopper? I said, yeah, I'm building a scale model. I just told them I was building a scale model for a show and I wanted to have a rooftopper. And so they're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
5 minutes later, I had the dimensions I needed, and and I took a bunch of pictures too. And so those rooftoppers, actually, there's two models with that, but the rooftopper is made out of evergreen sheet, and on the top part of it, the lighted part is evergreen sheet. It's only 10 thousandths thick, and then the base itself that holds it is actually a casting, a resin cast.
Okay.
So it's just a little shell on the top, so it shines the light the same way that the real rooftopper does. And then, of course, I made the decals for that. So, but yeah, the Lamborghini SV is fully lit. That one was a pretty good challenge to do. The taillights were really difficult
yeah, I can
to do.
See that? Holy smokes!
Yeah, to get the that kind of fishbone look. Was pretty crazy to get that. And so I had to trim the actual lights that came in the kit. They were red plastic lights, but they had I think the upper half of it had the reflectors cast into it, but the lower half didn't, or vice versa. So it had half of a fishbone, if you follow me. Okay. And so I ended up cutting the other half out, so it was a full fishbone when I started. And then I was able to use black evergreen sheet to block the light from coming through anywhere else.
But those are individual lights, though. I can see.
There's some individual, there's some individual lights behind that. Yes.
Okay.
It's just shining through the plastic, the plastic light from the kit. But it was quite a bit of work, and I actually made several different castings, trial and error, to get the best look, and it took a while to figure out exactly how to get that to show through and look like the fishbone.
Yeah, I think what is making your work really incredible is you're the only person I've ever seen I've seen people put bulbs behind clear lenses. You're actually going to the trouble to really nail the accurate, lens reflections and, the LED, sections that are lit up. You're making it as real and as close to a real car as possible.
You'll notice on the lamp, if you could back up one picture, James, that if you look at the side marker light on the Lamborghini, So on the real car, there's a hot spot. There's actually one bulb, so to speak, that shines through the side reflector. And so the location of that is right where it's supposed to be on the real car, shining through just the spot where it's supposed to shine.
Okay.
And so this was kind of a cool kit because the kit, it's an Aoshima kit. The kit came with the side marker lights cast on the body. So there was no cutout for it, but it had the clear lenses, which I found to be kind of weird. So it might have been for a different version. So it's like, well, that's good. I'm halfway there. All I got to do is cut them out. And so I cut out the body to fit those in there, and then actually made the bezel, the part of the light behind that is actually made with just an area for that light to shine through, and it's got one little nano-sized surface mounted diode in there.
Is the license plate frame on there lit too?
Yeah.
The license plate is lit by the lights above it. So
okay.
There's two lights above it that shine down.
Yeah. It's even
so the dash is lit too.
Yeah, the dash and the navigation are both lit on that one. I don't know if there's a picture in there of that, but the dash and the nav are lit. This car has 82 lights in it. I think it was 81, 82 lights. Where the lights add up, though, is when you make strips, because, it's individual lights that are just in a chain together.
Wow. Amazing. And are you controlling just like with one on-off switch, or there's a whole bank of switches, or?
No, it's one on-off, and I'm actually using, so Evans Design makes a lot of lighting components for trains and that sort of stuff, for models of different types. And they have a small unit. I don't know if I've got one handy. Yes. This little guy right here.
Okay.
There's a few in there. What this is a switch, but it's a remote switch. So you have a couple of wires, and then there's a little remote.
Of course there is.
So you can turn the lights on and off using the remote, and it makes it pretty simple to, and all you have to do is put the sensor anywhere inside the model. It doesn't even have to be where you can see it. It's just got to be somewhere in the model. And that just receives the power from the battery, and it puts the power out to the lights when you turn it on and off. So it makes it easy just to use the remote, turn it on and off, or dim it. You can dim it as well. And they're only like $5. So they're really cheap.
Mr. Tester, I think you're going to have to do a how-to video on lighting a model.
Oh, Jesus. No. I have enough problems just building models.
So this Porsche kit, this one is the new Tamiya GT3 RS.
Right.
It's the best kit I've ever built in terms of how the kit goes together, how it's designed, how it's engineered. And it's only a curbside, but man, it is an amazing kit. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to build one, but man, it's a nice kit.
Not yet.
And so it really worked well for the lighting as well. It was the right kit. If you want to light it, it was a good one to start with. But on this kit, it is the Euro spec version of it. So it doesn't have the front markers. So I ended up having to cut out the front marker lights and do those from scratch, which was not too difficult to do. But all the lighting in the front there, the 4 daytime running lights on each side, those are individual LEDs on each one.
Okay.
And they're really, really tiny LEDs. They're only about 20 thousandths by 28 thousandths in dimension. So they're little tiny buggers. And so there's one for each. And then the lower daytime running lights in the bumper, those are strips of Pico size LED lights. So I think there was like 11 of them on each side in a strip.
Do you get any heat problems with the LEDs?
No, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
The LEDs themselves don't put out any heat, if that's what you're referring to, but
Right.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah, they don't put out any heat at all.
Okay.
And yeah, so you can see the front marker. The marker light actually has 4 LEDs to that one marker light.
Wow.
So, and that one there, that's the way the actual car, that's the way the light illuminates. So it looks pretty realistic in terms of the car has got, like, on the marker light, there's like a border around it that's not lit. And then the center section lights up. So
You must really study the real car to understand.
yeah,
You know,
you kind of, you have
accurately.
to, yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive.
If
The
it's
crazy
gonna be
light
red,
on this one
yeah.
though is the tail light.
Right, that little strip.
Oh,
Yeah, that tail light is 89 LEDs.
Oh my God.
so you drilled 89 holes, basically.
Well, actually not. It's actually not done that way. It's made in a strip.
Okay. Okay.
So, and these are Pico size LEDs. What I found though on this model, when you're lighting stuff, one of the real keys to getting the lights to look well or to shine well is the backside of, if you got like a clear plastic lens and you're shining something through it, the backside has to be almost as smooth as the front.
Oh.
Because if it's not, it distorts the light. And
So if there's like a pin mark or something in the back,
yeah, there
of
could
the
be,
light.
exactly, there's something in there. And on this Tamiya kit, the one flaw I found in the kit was after I had painted and detailed out the rear taillight, and I started to put the LEDs behind it to look through it, and it was actually an air bubble in the kind of off center in the casting from the kit that you'd never see unless you shine light through it.
Right.
And the air bubble looks like a big light is out. So it's like, all right, I got to scrap that. So I ended up having to scratch build that light bar.
Wow.
But it worked out better that way because on the kit, the backside of the light on the kit had some dimensional changes to it. It kind of followed, mold lines or whatever. And so it had a couple dark spots anyway, and it didn't look quite right. So I decided I'm just going to bite the bullet and scratch build that light bar, which was actually not that difficult to do because I had a piece of sheet styrene left over from a kit that was flat, and I just cut it out.
I also have to give you credit for your photography because we're seeing something that's this big, in full detail, in full clarity. So your photography is right on too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I ended up I had to get a full frame digital camera to digital SLR to try to get these closer pictures with a macro lens. It's the only way I could do it because, phones take great pictures, but when you really zoom them in, they don't look so good.
Right.
I can appreciate the fact that you properly color keyed the surface latches. A lot of people who do the color keyed mirrors and the wheels, they'll forget these little latches up here are also color keyed to the. It's just obviously we're debating the fact that your lights don't light up on the outside but light up on the inside. So expecting the paint to be correct is probably not too much, but still it's something that people will like. Oh yeah, it just says semi-gloss black back there, and they paint the whole thing semi-gloss black. But those surface latches on the back hatch are color keyed to the wheels.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, those little details make a huge difference in the way a model presents when it's done.
Right.
If you're going especially if you're going for a factory look.
Right.
Now the question is, did you make pizzas?
You know what? I actually bought my first Domino's pizza when I started this, and the reason why was because I needed a box. I don't know if you noticed. I think one of the pictures there's some boxes in the back of the Porsche.
Okay.
So I needed to make a 1/25th scale, a few boxes. So I had my first Domino's pizza too. So it was all right. It was okay.
Fun. I appreciate your tongue-in-cheek nature to some of the humor and things that you've done.
So this is the Impala, and the pictures here, this is probably the most pictures of anything. And I like this just because this goes from a beginning to an end. This picture series will tell a story if I can get it to actually show up here. Where did it go? It's being difficult. Once we get so many pictures shown, there we go. StreamYard goes sideways. So this is for Jason Hanscom, Blue Ox Model Shop. Every year, the last, I don't know, 3-4 years now, he does a pro stock something. I'm sorry, I'm getting my terminology. Street Machine. Yeah. There you go. Yep. Street Machine group build. Everybody builds these. So obviously this is your entry from, is this past year, right? Because I remember seeing it in the slideshow he did for this. Right?
Yep, so that's correct.
This year's starting with the old venerable 63 Impala here. This is literally like laid out, right? We've got a 3D printed engine, 3D wheels.
Yeah, exactly. What I did is I opened up the kit and I threw away most of the parts. There wasn't much in it anyway. I mean, it didn't even have a firewall. Yeah. And so, you know, the kit is a ultra basic kit. I think it was a screw kit at one point. Mm-hmm. And so the body though was really, the casting of this body was a really good one. So, and this is another one that the kit I won it at one of our club meetings. So it's like, all right, that's the one I'm going to use. You know, I got it. That's what I'm using. So, and I had a plan for this one based off of a 60s Chevy Nova that I saw at the Adirondack Nationals in Lake George, New York, a couple of years ago. And so there was a, Street Machine, kind of a drag setup car that was just really cool and stood out in the crowd. And so I had an idea that I wanted to build that model sometime, but I didn't know if I was going to do a Nova or what I was going to do. And I thought, well, this Impala is perfect for that. So the idea for this, the concept behind it, again, I can't take credit for that, but I did add a lot of details to it that are different and things that are different from the real car, the Nova that I saw. But this was another one that was a really fun kit. So I ended up getting a Texas 3D 572 with a blower on it and a top hat, and then Texas 3D wheels. And this is the first time I've tried the Texas 3D rubber 3D printed wheels, which I got kind of mixed feelings on, but they're pretty good. Yeah, so this is where it all started. I had to take all the exhaust off it because I knew I wasn't going to need that. And this kit had all that stuff molded in. Right. You'll see the battery there. I knew I was going to light it. So one of the first things I do with any lighting kit is I figure out where the battery's going to go. And I started using these. This is a 123 battery, which are used for security systems and things like that, sensors and security systems. And they're nice because they're shorter than a AA. They're fatter, but they're shorter, but they're 3 volt. And they're lithium ion, so they have some pretty good punch to them, and they'll last all day long.
Okay.
So on this particular one, I said, okay, I'm going to build a battery box for it right off the bat. And so the battery box itself is built right into underneath of the body, but the access door is from the chassis.
Okay.
So
and I just use evergreen to build those battery boxes. Yeah, and on this car, it doesn't have daytime running lights or any of those fun things. So more of did it more of as a Resta mod where it's got halo lights on it. And I thought it'd be cool because I'm going with a green theme, and then I'm going to do green halos on this one. So the halos are actually, when I make those, they're cast on an LED. And these are cast on a standard, 1/8-inch LED. And you can see a few molds there. And I use epoxy to cast it. So I start off by building a master of the light shape, whatever that is. and then make some silicone molds from it. And then in this case, I made 4 molds, and the reason being is because that epoxy takes so damn long to set up. So I can make 4 molds in a couple of hours, and the epoxy takes a couple of days before you can do anything with it.
Oh.
So, and then I have a syringe. The syringe is used. I don't have a degassing vessel to get all the air out of the epoxy. So I found a way to do it with a syringe, and it works pretty well. It takes about 20 minutes. But you can actually draw some of the mixed resin into the syringe, and then plug off the end of the syringe. There's a round rubber silicone piece there. Just stick it into there and plug it off, and you can pull suction on it and pull the air out of it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm able to degas it and get most of the air, if not all the air, out of the resin itself before I pour it into the molds. And so, yeah, once those lights are cast, you can see the LEDs there. So the LED has the casting on it, and then it's actually a halo ring, and it's recessed in the middle where you see like the representation for the actual headlight in the center. So I used black plastic so that blocks the light from the center. And then the actual like projector lights that are in there are embedded into the black plastic. So no light shines through the center at all, just the halo itself.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, this picture is of I tried something on the dash, and I could not believe how well it worked. So I wanted to light the dashboard up, and I took the dashboard, the printing on the dashboard that was cast into the original model was really good. You could read all the numbers on the dashboard, on the speedometer. And it's like everything is really, really crisp and really good. So I shaved the backside of the dash till I got that so it was so thin you could hold it up to the light, you could see through it. And then I was able to actually push that instrument cluster right out of the dash. I took an X-Acto and just ran around the edges real lightly and pushed it out. Then I took that and I glued it onto a 5,000th thick sheet of white evergreen. So now I've got the instrument cluster on evergreen, and I've bare metal foiled it. And then after bare metal foiling it, painted it black. And then I was able to, I think I probably used 1,500 or 2,000 grit paper, and I sanded off the high spots when I was shining an LED behind it, and you can read all the numbers on it showing green through it. It was amazing.
Oh, look at that.
There might be a picture in there too. I don't remember if I put a picture in of the dash lit up.
Maybe there is. Oh, let's see. Next one is, oops, what's on the side? Next one's the lit up hood gauges.
Yeah, those are little scratch built gauges with one LED in each pod.
Are you
those are made with aluminum.
You making your own artwork for their gauge faces?
Yes, I just found some stuff, and then get it in Photoshop, get it to the size I need it, and then just print it. And it's not quite as good as a really good decal, but it's so small that, unless you got a magnifying glass, you can't tell. Oh, this was the masking phase of this car. So I painted this a Tamiya lime green. Rattle can lime green, and you'll see further on, this is a masking process. You'll see further on where I think another picture has where it's painted.
There we go.
Yeah, so then I started spraying over the masking, and I went through 5 rounds of masking to get the graphics on the car.
You're killing me that you're using rattle cans for this.
I love it.
Yeah, so this is you can kind of see the real car in the background.
Okay.
So that was the real car. That was the inspiration for doing this. So on the graphics for this, I actually laid out kind of in full size. They're kind of like drips running down the side of the body. So I laid out several different sizes of those drips and I scanned them and then used Photoshop to kind of assemble it into a strip. And then I have one of those Cricut machines. So you can cut vinyl, die cut machine. So I just cut that graphic out several times with a couple different variations to it. And then I was able to mask, the 5 rounds of masking that I needed to do to get to the final look. Well, that's just the lighting stuff.
A lot of wires running around.
It's just the lighting stuff.
It's just lighting stuff. No big deal. Yeah.
Texas 3D. That's a super cool motor. I love that engine. Nice detail on the Texas 3D, and they're all pretty good, but I've had really good luck with Texas 3D. Of course, I added a few little details to it, some of the plumbing and so forth to get it. And only really on this model, because the model didn't really have any engine bay detail to speak of, no firewall or anything, I decided to do an open hood and not have it come off. So the hood has got a cutout in it.
Okay.
But it's fixed.
Okay.
So all the important parts of the engine, you can see it, clearly.
Very cool.
Super fun kit. That was a super fun kit.
Oh yeah, the halos are awesome.
That's wild.
Oh, thanks. And I did halos in the back on this one as well, just because.
That's cool.
And obviously the car was de-chromed, but and I did a flat finish on the car, but I did 2K clear the bumpers because I just thought it would look different, It's the same color, just 2K cleared.
Right. Neat model.
Is the hood black or is it carbon fiber?
It's carbon.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I got a good enough picture in there to see that, but it is.
You can see the pattern running down the edge of it.
Neat.
Yeah, I think those are model car garage hood pins on that.
Okay.
Wild.
Very, very cool.
Let's say you can definitely see the carbon this way.
Yep.
Oh yeah, when you zoom in there. What kind of decal, carbon fiber decal are you using there?
That's a Tamiya.
Okay.
I use some Scale Motorsport stuff, and I use Tamiya. I have better luck with the Tamiya.
It's a little thicker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little thicker. It's a little more durable. Just had better luck with it. I actually like the color of it better too. It's a blacker color. So yeah, it works pretty well. I did have a problem with that one though. So I got the hood done. I got great results with the hood, 2K clear on it. Everything's perfect. I had it sitting outside in the sun for 5 minutes to take photos, and it started to bubble. Just from that little bit of heat on it. And I put a couple pinpricks in it and tried to, get some moisture in there and get it back down. I got it down so it's 95% better. You don't really notice. If you didn't know it, you wouldn't know it.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like, oh, my heart sank. And the car's all done. It's perfect. Everything's great. And then it starts to bubble. 5 minutes in the sun.
So when I was looking at those pictures today, the one thing I appreciated was that drip pattern, because seeing it in the slideshow on my phone, watching it in the video that Jason did, it's just like, it's a really cool looking green car. It's a lime green. It's not a color you'd see a lot. So it pops and stands out from that aspect of seeing the pictures. Like, oh, there's a whole thing going on the paint on top of it. So I like that. And I appreciate the work that went into all that masking to get that
Thanks. It was a lot. And on the roof, the thing I did different from the car that I saw at the show was the whole roof has a pattern on it too. It's not drips, it's little dashes, and they're different sizes. And actually, I have it. You might be able to see it here. I have it right here. So if you look at the roof.
Okay. Oh yeah, and the top and the trunk lid too.
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
So that's something that I had to fill it in with something that, and you couldn't put the drip pattern on it because it's on a flat surface, so to speak. So I decided to do something a little different. Make it look like it was created more by the wind, I guess.
Right. That's cool.
Gary, I'm noticing your workshop. Is that your garage or do you have a basement workshop?
I'm in my basement. This is actually my wood shop. Now it's a wood shop with a little bit of model shop in it. And I can roll stuff around, move it all over the place if I need to. But it's kind of nice having the tools around. I don't do any painting in the house. My wife made a rule, no painting in the house. And it's like, okay, all right. So I have a detached garage that I do all that in, and I've got my paint booth and all that stuff set up there. So, and it's heated, so it's good in the wintertime. I can paint year round. Nice. So yeah, it actually makes, it keeps me moving too, because I don't paint, spray paint. I don't, I do brush paint and stuff, but I don't do any spray painting in the house. So, I have to run back and forth several times sometimes during the day. It's a hike, when you get your stuff on, go outside and run up to the garage, go upstairs, and all that. It's a hike. Yeah. So I've conditioned myself to go, okay, I'm just going to do it,
Gary, what aspects of model building do you enjoy doing the most?
I say more on the conceptual side of it. So in the beginning phases, when I'm planning and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So if it's a kit bash or something along those lines, I'll just start cutting and, hacking and do whatever I got to do. And I find that to be a lot of fun to build it and start to see that shape come together. When I'm building a kit that's going to be basically a stock vehicle, I find that, and I'm doing lighting, the lighting is the first thing that I take on. And so, then it's figuring out the battery box, number one, and then figuring out how to get the lighting to look the way I want it to look. And each model is different. So, I don't really have a method per se of how you're going to do a model. You got to kind of look at it, see, and deal with what you've got. Because a lot of times these kits, some of the Japanese kits have really good clear lenses and that sort of stuff that you have to work with. And you get other kits, you got to make everything. So, yeah, so it's pretty tricky to do. So it takes a lot of time, trial and error, and I make a lot of molds and, a lot of test shots of this and that, trying to figure out how to get there. And I'm not the type of person to give up. So it's like, I just keep trying and keep trying.
Yeah. I can see your pattern making skill sets kind of coming into play in some of the things you're talking about, especially with the RTV rubber molding. I'm guessing you probably got experience in the pattern making world.
Oh, absolutely.
Molds and,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I'm using the stuff you can buy at like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Just a real simple rubber mold making material.
Okay.
And made by Alumilite. And this stuff is great. I've had really, really, really good luck with it. The nice thing I like about this particular molding material is you don't really have to degas it. So you can just mix it and silicone, and it sets up pretty quick too, normally within a half hour, so you can demold. So it's really fast and it's really precise as well. So you can get all the detail you need to get. Once in a while you get a stray air bubble or something, but if you have to make another one, you just make another one.
Yeah.
It only takes a few minutes.
Have you ventured in the world of 3D printing and CAD modeling yet? CAD modeling,
that was my CAD modeling in aerospace. I did a lot of that. in tool design, but 3D printing, no. And at first I thought I wanted to do it. I thought, hey, I could get into 3D printing, but I'm the type of person that the only thing that I would be interested in 3D printing are things that I've made in design. So if I was working on a project and I was going to make some lighting, let's say some lighting bezels or something, and I could 3D print it, that means I'm making the 3D models. And 3D modeling takes a lot of time. And so that's one of those things where I just never wanted to commit. It's like I can probably scratch build it faster for the one-off, for the one-off.
Yeah.
If I was going to make it for, to sell them, that's a different story. But for that one-off, it's like, yeah, I can probably make it faster scratch building it.
Yeah. Yeah, you certainly have the skill sets to be able to do it.
Yeah, and so the 3D, I mean, I love the 3D printed parts for the most part. I like the fact you can get all kinds of different things. But no, I haven't actually tried it. I've seen, James, I've seen you've done that, quite a bit of that 3D printing. I've seen a few of your YouTube videos on it, which is pretty cool. I mean,
it's a rabbit hole, and I'm not a designer. I'm just just a printer. I think if I ever went down files, that line, what's that?
Yeah. So you you buy the files, and then and then you can print whatever it is that you want.
Right. I think if I went down that rabbit hole, I would quit building.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, is I don't really want to put myself in a situation where I'm doing something that's not modeling per se, and it takes away from it, or it makes it a job. And it's like, I don't really want it to be that. So yeah, I retired. I'm done with all the stressful stuff. So
I have enough friends that do design that I can just ask, hey, can you make me this?
Yeah. The one thing I wish actually
do printing, I can just ask.
The one thing I wish that there was more of, actually, and I've seen, I can't remember the guy's name right now. He's a local guy to us, but 3D printing rims and tires and that sort of stuff. I am interested in that because, that's where the first part of customizing starts a lot of times, right? With different wheels and tires. Right. But the wheels is, they've got to be dead accurate in order to, especially if you're trying to make something that's, a production car, a particular wheel or whatever, they got to be dead accurate. But the tires, the thing I don't like about today's models is they don't have any of the printing on the side of the tire.
Right.
And I have seen some 3D printed tires that have that, and they look great. And that's something that, I probably will investigate that a little bit more in the near future, is not doing it myself, but getting and acquiring the correct tires and so forth.
I think plastic model kits, that the aspect ratio of the tire just doesn't look right.
No,
to me, it does a good job, but even them, they can be a little on the thick side, almost too much sidewall. Where
absolutely,
if you look at your Lamborghini or something, there's almost no tire per se.
Yeah, and that's the way the real ones are too. So it is true though, and I do know the older Tamiya kits from the 80s, built Mazda RX-7s and those kinds of things, those tires were too thick.
Yeah.
They just didn't. You look at it and you take. I would always try to take good photos to try to make it look real, outside or whatever. And the tires always gave it away.
Yeah,
didn't matter how good the model was built. The tires just said no. It's a model.
Right.
The more
Kevin brings up a good point. Go ahead.
The more I talk to people about 3D printing, the more it seems to me it's like people who buy or adopt another cat or dog for their cat or dog, because you're getting a hobby for your hobby at that point. Like, oh, my model building hobby's lonely. I'm going to get it a 3D printer because then I'll have something else to do with my modeling. It's like, oh no, that one took over the whole house. It tore the basement apart. And now I'm in a CAD CAM class at the local community college, so I can design my stuff. And I've, because it's everybody I've ever met who's a sole proprietor of an aftermarket company has turned their hobby into a business. And then they don't have a hobby anymore. They have a business that they're running, and they don't build models anymore. And Mike Newport, who ran for a long time well, he still does it if you request it, but he did wheel lips for wheels, turned aluminum wheel lips, and that turned into a business that he was doing. And then it became I haven't built a model in 3 years because all I'm doing is sitting around on a mini lathe all night long cutting wheel lips for people. I was like, well, yeah, you came up with a name for it and you opened a business, and that's what you do now. Sorry, no modeling for you.
Yeah, I can see that happening real fast if it got too deep into it. So I've kind of steered away. It's like I just want to build and not have the stresses of other stuff.
Right.
Right.
And you can just contact Texas and get whatever you need. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. What aspects of model building do you sort of struggle with or find intimidating? Or are there any?
Well, I think the thing that I dislike the most is final assembly, and that's because that's where it seems like if something's going to go wrong, that's where it happens. It's that scratch, it's that little chip, it's that, little dab of glue. And I mean, I've tried to change my ways so that I avoid those situations, but I don't get the most enjoyment out of final assembly.
Yeah.
And
those last 5 pieces are usually the hardest to put on, right?
yeah. And actually, believe it or not, I know, James, you had mentioned earlier that, one of the first things you do is you paint bodies and so forth of the car, and then you work your way through the interiors and stuff. I generally start, I've kind of changed my way of doing it. And I think it comes from scratch building or kit bashing, is the paint on the bodies absolutely the last thing I do in the process. I'll have my interior done. I like to start with the interior. I get the interior done, engine and so forth, chassis, get all that stuff done. And then when I get to and then I fit everything, I make sure that the bodies, everything work. And then the body is literally the last thing I finish, is painting the body. And I do quite a bit of pre-assembly on the bodies as well, so that because I'm not that good at gluing things without making a mess, so I end up gluing a lot of this stuff together, like on my Corvette, this one here, the mirrors are glued on before any paint.
Okay.
The rear fascia is all glued on before any paint. And then as I start painting and go through the process, all the lights, all the clear lenses are all on it. Everything is all on it before clear coat.
Oh, wow.
So if it's something that's going to have a gloss finish, it's on the car before I clear coat it, because I'm afraid that if I clear coat it and I get too much buildup, then I go to put the lenses on the lights and they don't fit well and all that. So it's like, they fit beautiful before you get to the clear coat. So that's kind of my process. It's a little bit backwards, I guess, but it works. So
I have a lot of bodies that the model never makes it past the painted body, because I don't like the way the body came out. So I never finished the rest of the car.
Oh.
So if I built the whole car and then screwed up the paint job, I don't strip anything. I should, but I don't strip anything. Just give it away.
I can't say I strip stuff either. I mean, I've stripped a few things like wheels and stuff, but I've generally bodies I don't strip, and I've thrown a few away because of pre-Tamiya paints. When I was, would use anything you could get at the hardware store.
Yeah.
Ran into all kinds of issues. So
right.
Yeah, I learned early on that, some of those hardware store brands aren't the best when it comes to modeling. So I don't go there anymore.
Kevin Smith in the chat posted, big commitment doing the body last. I was like,
it actually is. It is, because especially after doing all the lighting and everything, because you got so much time in it.
Sure.
But you know what? Let's say, for example, on the Corvette that I did the body last and I wrecked it. If I go get another kit, I've still got most of it built.
Right.
It's not that big of an investment to get back to square one.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't know.
And
I
if it's-
was gonna say I do a lot of test fitting prior to painting. But I swear, when in that final assembly, inevitably something doesn't stack up the way it did before, and now you're like,
yeah,
I can't get, something, I can't get a bumper on, like, or the hood doesn't fit anymore. Or like,
right.
so I know exactly what you're talking about. Just like that final assembly sort of, angst of trying to get
Yeah,
these.
that's when the pressure's on. That's when you've got all this time in it, and you're proud of where you got to that point. And it's like, man, this is going to be my best one ever. Until you do that, and then you realize, no, I've done better.
For me, the very last thing I do when I build a model is glue the wheels on. And it's because I want the stance I want the wheels to be centered in the, and also spaced out correctly, and then have the right cast or camber look to it. And inevitably, I do a lot of test fitting, but when you put everything together, interior, chassis, stuff doesn't fit anymore. And,
Not the same.
and so, like, if I had mounted those wheels to those axles, inevitably my stance would be off, wouldn't sit right, wouldn't sit level. So the very last thing I do is, I don't really mount the wheel, centered correctly on the axle. I mount it centered on the wheel well. So if you look at the bottom of my models, a lot of time it's not centered. It might be split off. But I don't care about what look from the bottom. I want it to look right when it's sitting on the table. So
Right.
Yeah. I will
glue the tire to the top of the wheel well, right?
Yeah, I've done stuff like that too. Yeah. Cut hack of the, if I want it really low, cut the top of the tire off,
Gary's like, no.
No, I've done, you have to do what you have to do, right? And sometimes when you get to the very end too, like you're saying, Sean, you get to the very end and there's that one little thing that's just like, oh, why? Oh, on this Corvette model, one thing I did to this Corvette model was, and I knew I was going to run into the problem. I put it together and taken it apart so many times already. But when I put the front suspension together, I flipped the front spindles to get it lower. And because it was sitting just a little too high. And it's like, well, if I flip those spindles, I can get that right where it needs to be. It actually looks a hair low right now, but I'm okay with that because I know when I finally put it together, there's going to be something in there. With all the wiring and all the other stuff, is going to be something that's going to hold it up a little bit, and it should be just about right.
Every Hasegawa kit I've ever built has been sitting high, so I lower all of those.
Yeah.
Speaking of
lowering can be a.
Yeah, that's the right stance.
Well, that's the Aoshima
Liberty Walk. Yeah.
Liberty Walk. So this one has this one's got the wheels that you can move them and change the stance and change the camber and all that stuff. This was my first, I didn't build this just a few months ago. My goal on this one and where I started was with the headlights. It's like I'm going to get those signature DRLs down come hell or high water.
Right.
And so I forget how many LEDs it was. Might have the number here, but the LEDs on that, I actually made 4 strips for each side. And then they're actually, and I made a mold of that whole light bar that came with the kit, which had the detail of the daytime running lights. And so I had a female of that I was able to drop the lights into, drop them right into the mold, and then pour the resin in there. And it's a white resin that the light actually will shine through. So as long as the LEDs are close to the surface, they'll shine through correctly. If they're not close to the surface, then it gets very dull. So it took a couple tries, to get it, but I was fortunate to get it.
That is so cool, though.
Yeah,
So let me see here.
I mean, that just looked like a photo of a real car.
Right.
I would have never even guessed that was a model. Are you photographing like it outside at dusk?
Yeah, I did that exactly. It was a cloudy day, and it was like, oh, this is the perfect lighting for showing the lights.
Oh.
Yeah, so that has actually 42 Pico lights for the DRLs. So there's 21 per side. And I actually have close by.
Oh yeah.
I got a scrap. This is a scrap. Okay, here we go. This is a scrap light bar or DRL. This is get it lit. One I didn't. You see, I got one that's out.
Yeah.
But this shows kind of what that looks like. On the bottom of it, I just got batteries hooked to it. Where we go here, right there.
Okay.
So, it's kind of a mess of wires when you've got 4 sets of LEDs on each side. So there's eight little wires on each side. But you join them all together, and then everything's painted black, of course, to kind of block the light out. But I actually wasted more lights because I was trying to figure it out. I wasted more lights than are in the car. That's got 100 in it. So took a few tries. And the taillights, there's 52 LEDs for the taillights. And those, the way the Huracan rear end of the car is, the lights kind of slant inward. So when you add that thickness, to the back of the lens, you add that thickness, you're going into the body. So there was literally no room in there for lights. And so I had to carve some of the backside of the body out to get all that to work and be in the right position. So that one was almost a scrap job, but I ended up getting it.
So cool.
It's incredible.
Thank you.
Is the background on your photo, is that like an actual a scene, or is it, have you got a printed cardboard or something that you're?
Yeah, so I made a little diorama, if you will, and made a little guardrail. And so I'd use that in quite a few of my pictures. So it's a scale size of a metal guardrail. And it looks pretty realistic, and it's actually bent up in a few places too, so it looks like a real one, in New England anyway. Yeah, and then the road surface is, you can buy from any home supply store that rigid foam you put in walls or put on the surface. So buy rigid foam, and what's really cool about it is if you take, it's just pink foam, it's about 1 inch thick, 1.5 inch thick. So you've got it super lightweight, and if you paint it with pretty much any hardware style paint, if you spray really light coats on it, it'll won't eat into the foam too much. But if you spray it heavier, it'll eat into it. So you can create a road texture, which is really neat. And then after that's all done I paint it with spray paint. And you can like spray spots and go, okay, here I'm going to have a little dimple in the road or whatever. And then when that's all done, I just use some black latex paint, roll it over it, and it gives it a really good, authentic, worn pavement look.
Huh.
And usually I'll spread some dirt over it too, just to kind of bring together a little more realism. But it works great for doing photos, and it's small. It's only about probably 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet a piece.
I can hear Sean's brain moving right now.
As soon as that trophy charger gets done, here comes the backdrop.
Soaking it up. It's fun stuff. So Gary, what what are you looking forward to building this year after you get the Corvette done?
Well, I already picked this one up, and you're going to like this one, Sean, because I remember talking to you about yours.
Oh, okay.
So
And I imagine you're going to do all the lighting on that one.
that is the plan. I want to have that one ready for NNL too. So, that's actually next after the Corvette.
Very cool.
So look, I've been looking forward to that model. I know it was supposed to be released in 2025, and I didn't actually get it until January. So it didn't work out that way. But I've already built some lighting for that because I used the standard 2021 Charger model for that.
Mm-hmm.
But since I built that, which was over a year ago now, I'm going to probably redo it because I've changed the way I do things because I can make it better now. But I'm going to it'll be that surround tail light, that's illuminated all the way around. It'll be the DRLs in the front and the marker lights, of course. So, and I like to stay with just the DRLs and not do headlights because the way that cars work in real life is usually the DRLs either go dim or off when headlights are on. And I'm just trying to get that daytime DRL look.
Mm-hmm.
If you had your parking lights on or something like that. So that's the plan. That's after the Chargers, after the Corvette. And then I really don't know what I'm going to do after that. But I've got my eye on the new Lamborghini Revelto. So might be doing that one if I can get a hold of one. I know they're not here yet in the US, but that's another one that might happen.
When you're building, do you build one at a time, or do you have like an assembly line where you're building multiple kits all at the same time?
Well, I'm generally speaking, and probably for the future, I'll be one at a time. When I built the Porsche GT3 RS and the Lamborghini Aventador SV, I did those together at the same time. And the only similarity was the Domino's roof topper. So when I did that, I'm thinking to myself, it's got some similarities, a roof topper. Outside of that, it was building two separate models, totally different. The lighting was done completely differently. The whole approach of it was done differently. And so it seemed like it was a waste of time. I was thinking it was maybe going to, I'll be able to paint some things together and do that, but they're different colors and it didn't work. So I'm doing two models going, it's taking too long.
What's your typical turnaround?
It can be usually about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, roughly a month. I've done some quicker and some take longer. I've had some take a couple months to do. And that depends on how much scratch building, I guess, is involved.
I have a short attention span. After a month, I'm done.
I kind of in that same zone. When I did my Porsche Huracan, of course, that one was so much work. That was 3.5 months, 7 days a week. And it was the hours were just nuts. And I was putting in some long days too, and having to make a lot of stuff. And when I got done with that one, I was ready to be done. I don't even want to look at a model now for a while. Really so that was too long. I think a month is okay. But that's generally where I'm at. And then one at a time, maybe I'll do two. I've done two at a time a couple of different times, but normally when I do two at a time, they're similar. An example of that, I did Richard Petty's 1970 Roadrunner. And so when I built that model, that was a Silvino's kit. I built a second one as a street car that looked like the race car. So, but it had lights on it as a street car would have, and it had streetcar chassis and interior. So I built those together, and I was able to do a lot of things at the same time. The decals on the outside, and all the body work and stuff was done at the same time. That wasn't so bad doing two at the same time, but for the most part, I'm going to be doing one. How about you guys? You do more than one?
I try and do one at a time.
I usually have 3, 4 going on at the same
Really?
time because I
All
build.
the different stages, or
Yeah, and I build because I build slow. Like I only build maybe on Saturdays, so
yeah,
I'll put stuff aside and let it dry, cure for a week or 2 month, and then I'm off working on a different thing at a
yeah,
different time. And then I kind of do things in an assembly line where I'll do a bunch of dusty stuff all at once, on a couple different models. And then when I'm ready to paint, it's going to be, I'm going to paint 2 or 3. I get clear and I'll like clear coat 3 models at the same time.
yeah.
Just kind of, it's always just how I've done.
I mean, I could see we're doing, like obviously when you airbrush, you got to clean the airbrush and do all that stuff. So if you can do a bunch of stuff at once, that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do, flat black, I'm going to do flat black on 4 different models. And that way I kind of, it just feels more efficient that way. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. I can see where it would be. I guess my brain doesn't work that way though. It's like if I've got 2 different things going, it's like, which one do I do first?
So this question popped up of in the future having clear parts that are going to be printable rather than doing vacuum forming. And then Ken followed it up with the fact that James has printed a bunch of stuff in clear resins that look pretty good except for the glass. I don't think that you're going to be able to print glass with a 3D printer. That's because in order to keep it thin enough, there's not enough layers in there to do anything with. It's always going to be cloudy.
Yeah.
I mean, Lau over LB Productions has done 3D printed glass, if you will, for the driving light, fog light inserts for an AMG GT3 kit. And then you go through and you spray those with lacquer clear to make them shiny rather than being dull. But like that's also a very small part. The back, it's gonna be, the actual light itself is black, unless you're Gary and light the stupid thing. But it's gonna be black, so you're not gonna notice the fact that it's not optically clear like a headlight would be. But as far as printing a windshield or anything else like that, I don't think
so either.
I mean, maybe there's some technological breakthrough at some point in the future, sure. But as it stands right now, at least with the hobby grade 3D printers, I don't think you're going to be able to print 3D resin at a thickness that would be optically clear and the right shape and everything else.
Right.
Because obviously you have the post you'd have to deal with too, right? All the structure that holds it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you wouldn't be able to print a curved window with just the supports around the outside edge like that.
I've tried doing them just on the bottom of the window and then printing them straight up. But of course you get lines this way.
Yeah.
Even going down to 1 micron, of 0.01.
Yeah, you get that if you got something that's I can understand that, especially with if it's slightly off perpendicular, it's gonna show big time, isn't it?
Yep. I've even tried angling a little bit and just doing the supports along the outside edges, and it still didn't work. So I just don't think you can do glass. I'll do headlights and taillights, but that's about it.
I think that's the superiority of injection molding there, because you don't realize how polished the clear piece molds are. They're as polished as a model kit body are. You can't have any kind of undulation in that at all, or else you'll jack the glass all up. You'll get a 1960s AMT glass instead of a Tamiya windshield.
Speaking of glass, do the Alpha kits all have flat sheet that they do?
Yeah, it's flat acetate that's pre-black outlined, and then you're on your adventure to try to make that curve.
Let's see if I can find that.
It depends on like what the car is. Some of them aren't too bad because it's not too much of an arc to it. Some of them like
there's one right
doing
here.
a bubble top wouldn't work so well.
Yeah.
This is my Ferrari GT3 car.
Okay.
So it's nicely outlined.
Yeah.
But tack it on one side and then glue the other side.
Yeah.
That won't be too terribly bad because the 296's windshield is curved. It's
For
not
the most part. Yeah.
It's just
I mean, there's a
flat
sweep to it.
Yeah, but it's pretty flat overall compared to like the rear window to the Corolla or something like that, where you're trying, or that what was it, the Yaris that you
the Yaris, right? Yeah. That one was
wrapped
a
flat
around the
glass,
edges.
and it wrapped around and then around a corner on top of itself. We all sat there and watched James lose his mind on trying to glue that thing down. All right, Gary, this is the question we ask everybody as we come to the end of the show. It is stolen from another podcast that ironically started asking this question again. So now they're stealing from us. But do you have a project, or it could be a series of projects? I've always said the example for this is I'm very much a fan of a race in Macau called the Gia Race in Macau. It's a street race in the city of Macau. It was held every year. It's the end of the season race. Touring cars like the old Mercedes, old BMWs and stuff like that, up to current GT3 cars. And there are decals that exist to build almost every winning car from the 1980s through present day. Someday I'd like to do that as a collection, to have all those winning cars done. I have the kits for most of them, the decals for most of them. That's my like lifetime achievement award. Do you have some sort of project in mind that if you could have one model that was Gary Westfall's model? Is there a project that lurks in the background somewhere that you'd really like to do before you shuffle off this mortal coil, so to speak?
Well, I hate to be dull about it, but no, I don't really have.
I just go what I need to. Screw you.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. I mean, I put everything into the next kit, and I sometimes have one that I want to get, when it's coming, like the Hellcat. I've been wanting that for a while. But I don't really have something that I say, that I really want to build as a whole lineup or a particular genre or anything like that. Pretty much just whatever interests me in the moment.
I guess that is a difficult one when you're talking to a guy who hacked apart an $800 diecast 1A scale model kit. There's not going to be something he's too scared to do until later, kind of thing. That I always want to get that done someday.
I wonder has there been a lighting project where you looked at it and you're like, I can't figure out how to do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been some stuff because mine is like simple. It's simple in the sense that it's daytime running lights, parking lights, side lights, that kind of stuff. Our interior dashboard lights. I've seen where other builders, you have it so you open the door and the dome light comes on, and you do these different things to make the lights work. I've done some of that in the past. Way back when in the 80s, I built a monogram 1/8 scale IROC Z, and I made the car fully radio controlled, and all of the lights worked from the radio. So it had turn signals, backup lights, brake lights, headlights, high beam, low beam, fog lights, everything. It all worked. Wow. And you could turn it all on and use it from the radio, which was really cool. But I had no interior, and I just blacked out the windows because I had so much crap in it. And it was 1/8 scale. So I don't ever really want to go back to that. I don't really have that kind of idea in mind, but I've seen it where people do crazy stuff with super miniature, little tiny 1/64ths that have turn signals and things. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm more like making the light accurate and looking realistic for photograph. So it doesn't have to have all the actions for me, to be able to blink and do all these different things. Probably could do an emergency vehicle at some point, and make the lights flash or whatever. But that's pretty much just buying you buy the electronics for it and then you install it.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really have anywhere to go other than DRLs has been my thing. And that's been my focus for a while, is getting those daytime running lights to look as close to the real as I can.
Right. Very cool.
All right, Gary, we appreciate you coming on tonight, giving us an education and how many LEDs you can stuff into a model kit at one time.
He can get crazy, that's for
I
sure.
was gonna say it's certainly been enlightening. Didn't really mean for that pun, but there you go. And
It's been
illuminating. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Sean. And so we look forward to seeing you at NNL East this year. We'll all be there, and I guess you'll have to come to NNL East yourself to see what it is that Gary has built for his 1963 project. And I'm sure in 3 days here we'll get our internet theme, and Gary will manage to whip something into shape with that, along with building the Hellcat too, because apparently, that's the speed at which Gary builds.
That's what's gonna happen.
So I gotta appreciate that, and not just like crappy either, like award-winning fast. That's its
thank
own
you.
thing in its own right.
We'll try not to wreck it. Let's put it that way.
I guess we don't see it if there's a disaster that occurred.
Yeah, if it's not there, you know where it is. It's in the trash can.
So
I'm
appreciate you having me on
stuff at NNL East, Gary.
Yeah.
Yes, looking forward to it.
And appreciate these two guys agreeing to come back for another year of fun and frivolity.
I didn't think about a year
on the podcast here. I have to say, well, all right, fine. Just we won't pay for the StreamYard subscription, and this will be the last one. No, but appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, and we'll be back in 2 weeks as usual. We're back on our regular schedule, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Good night, guys.
All right.
See ya.